Today, Caitlin Clark said, folks, forget what she's talking about. Today, I'm going to run the show.
1 minute, everyone was questioning Caitlin Clark. They called her the problem. But then yesterday, she stepped back on that court and completely destroyed Dallas. She was dropping dimes, locking up on defense, hitting logo threes like it was a warm-up shot. And then she dropped some real truth bombs after the game, where she finally revealed the real reason why Fever looked like an entirely different team. It wasn't just better shooting, it was a locker room adjustment that changed everything. And once you hear what she said, you'll understand exactly why she's not the problem. In fact, she is the reason this team even has a pulse.
Fever beat the Dallas Wings 102-83. This was a highly anticipated game because it was going to be the first time that Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers would be going up against.
Yesterday, the Indiana Fever faced off against the Dallas Wings. And sure, the scoreboard looked great. But what really mattered was the energy. Something felt different the second Caitlin stepped on the court. She was not playing nervous at all. In fact, she looked like someone who finally got the green light and decided to step on the gas. She was calling for screens, running the offense like a floor general, dictating the pace, waving teammates into position, and actually being allowed to, be Caitlin freaking Clark. And the defense, well, don't even get me started.
And they criticized her for her defense. She was all over the floor on the defensive end, and she took some risks, and those paid off for her in the 5 steals.
5 steals, a block, 3 pickpockets on Paige Bueckers like it was personal. She was hustling for loose balls, clogging lanes, reading passes like she had the playbook in her back pocket.
The amount of full court passes from Caitlin Clark to Kelsey Mitchell, from Caitlin Clark to Sophie Cunningham, we might have hit.
Clearly, this wasn't just a good game, but a result of something shifting behind the scenes. And after the game, she straight up admitted it. There was a locker room change, something clicked, and it finally let her breathe. And once that happened, Dallas didn't stand a chance. Fever basketball is back. Now, before we even get into Caitlin's performance, we have got to talk about this Fever team as a whole. Because last night, they looked like a completely different squad. The pace was wild, the ball movement was smooth, and the energy was giving the vibes as if they finally remembered they play in the WNBA. Seriously, we've been begging to see this version of the Fever. Fast, explosive, up-the-floor pressure defense that is actually fun to watch. And for once, it didn't disappear after the first quarter. They kept that pace going for almost the entire game. In the first half alone, they dropped 64 points.
They actually broke a league record for points in the first quarter. They scored 64 points not the first quarter, excuse me. They scored 64 points in the first.
And the craziest part was, they didn't even look gassed. They looked like they were finally enjoying the game again. You could literally feel it. Every single player bought in. Natasha Howard was flying up the floor like someone lit a fire under her sneakers. Aaliyah Boston was moving with purpose. The ball was zipping around, everyone was touching it, nobody was standing still. It was the kind of team play that makes you go, wait, where has this been all season? And the answer might just be sitting in the locker room, because whatever conversation happened behind closed doors, it worked. Fever ended the night with 102 points, 28 assists, only 11 turnovers, and 20 fast break points. Let me repeat that. 28 assists, 102 points, and they blew Dallas out by 19. Clearly, they dominated the night. Star of the night. So if you ever doubted her or called her too flashy or overrated, well, last night she shut you all the way up. Because Caitlin Clark walked into that Dallas game with one thing on her mind: control.
Most double-doubles with points and assists in WNBA. The 5th most double-doubles with points and assists in WNBA.
From the moment she hit that deep 3 in the first quarter, the crowd was fired up, and even the defenders looked a little shook. She came out aggressive, attacking the rim, finding open shooters, drawing contact. In the first quarter alone, she already had 7 points and 2 assists, and more importantly, she set the tone, and the team fed off her energy. What makes Caitlin so dangerous is this. When the shots don't fall, she still finds a way to dominate. She only hit 4 of her 12 shots last night. That's not her best shooting night. But guess what? She still ended up with 14 points, and then she dished out 13 assists.
Caitlin Clark ended the game with 14 points, 13 assists, and 5 steals.
Not only that, she practically made her team play well. And they did. With Caitlin setting them up, most players hit double figures. Natasha Howard dropped 18. Ellie of Boston put up 17. Kelsey Mitchell hit 20. Sophie Cunningham gave 13.
Sophie Cunningham, like I said, 22 minutes for Sophie Cunningham, 13 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. Back-to-back solid games for Sophie Cunningham.
And Caitlin was at the center of all of it. Now here's the part the media doesn't want to talk about because it ruins their little anti-Caitlin agenda. Her defense last night was Ellie. She just became the first WNBA player this season to put up 10-plus assists and 5-plus steals in the same game. You know who last did that? Caitlin Clark. Last year. But there's still one more thing we have got to talk about because it's getting ridiculous at this point. Caitlin is getting grabbed. Like jersey tugs, elbow hooks, full body checks. Basically, constant harassment.
Understand how the hand checks, how grabbing somebody on their jersey, how grabbing someone around their hip, how hooking somebody is still allowed, and we see it on so many plays.
And the referees act like they left their whistles at home. Even Rebecca Lobo called it out live. She literally paused a play and said, there's a foul, another one, and only then they call it.
So there's a grab right there. There's a hold around her back. She's still kind of holding on to her with her left hand. Then Caitlin passes, and then she gets bumped a couple times, and then they
Like, seriously? How long is this going to go on? She's getting hammered every time she moves, but still. She keeps her head down and runs the league. Here's the wildest part. You know, we are not even halfway through the season, and she's already hit 200 points and 100 assists, probably the fastest anyone in WNBA history has done it.
Caitlin Clark has reached 200 points and 100 assists this season, the fastest to do so in a single season in WNBA history. Oh yeah.
She's also now ranked 5th all-time in double-doubles with points and assists.
Most double-doubles with points and assists in WNBA. The 5th most double-doubles with points and assists in WNBA.
And she's a rookie. Let that sink in. No system built around her. And still she's doing numbers most vets never touch. The post-game whispers. Okay, so the game ends. Fever wins big.
You know, I can be a really good defender when I choose to, and when I work really hard on it, and not conserve energy. So, proud of
Caitlin Clark walks into the post-game presser, and she gets asked about her defense. And instead of brushing it off or giving some recycled, just played hard answer, she says this.
You know, I can be a really good defender when I choose to, and when I work really hard on it, and not conserve energy. So, proud of
I can be a really good defender when I choose to, when I work hard on it, when I don't conserve energy. Wait, hold up. When I choose to. That right there, that is the most honest and accidental confession you will ever hear from a pro athlete. She basically said, yeah, I can be a lockdown defender, but only when I'm locked. And that's not a shot, that's actually huge growth. But it's also the first time she's ever admitted the thing some of us have been screaming all season.
And this is what she said after the game. And if you agree that, you know what, it's what I've always been saying. It's what I've always...
Caitlin Clark's effort is directly tied to how involved she is. When she's in rhythm, getting touches, running the offense, she is fully engaged, head to toe. But when she's iced out, used as a decoy, or forced to play off-ball like a 5th option, that fire starts to dim, and of course her defense slips. You know what the interesting part is? She basically gave us the formula. When I bring tenacity on defense, I think it helps our offense go. It is that simple. Let her play defense like a dog. Let her touch the ball more. Let her lead.
And this is what she said after the game. And if you agree that, you know what,
And once you do this, the results are like what you saw last night. A win by 19. It's all connected, and now even Caitlin is admitting it. Clearly this wasn't a simple TED Talk she did. This was her finally showing us why she's a problem, in the best possible way. So yeah, Caitlin Clark really is the problem, the one you can't stop, can't contain, and definitely can't ignore. If you watched the game last night and loved her comeback, right, that's the Clark effect in the comments below. And hit that subscribe button for daily WNBA updates, drama, and everything in between.